Thank you. Admitting them.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Come
Hello,
on.
everyone.
Hi.
Hi, we're just letting everyone in and then
Thank
we're going to
you.
get started.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Turn this off.
Good afternoon, everyone. So we are about to get started on our seminar series for November. This seminar is called Stronger Memory, Back to the Basics for Brain Health. And I am Jennifer Tillman. I am, of course, the real estate agent who works with caregivers and seniors and everyone going through various transitions, whether it's the first-time home buyer or the person moving their family, growing family, or it's the senior or the baby boomer that's downsizing. I work with everyone, but of course, the caregivers and the seniors are my sweet spot. I love working with them. I'm also a coach. I coach agents, real estate agents, as well as I'm a grief coach and just a life and transformational coach. So I coach women who are retiring and they're looking at the rest of their life and what they want to do with it and just finding their purpose in life. So I coach around all of those things. And I'm also, as you know, part of the Prince George's Senior Provider Network. And in the provider network, we share lots of things with each other, but what I like to do is bring this information to the community. So here is my Caring for the Caregivers Facebook page. You can either click on that and scan the link there, or you can just go to Facebook and look for Caregivers for Prince George's County. On that page, we actually share all of the upcoming events, things that are happening in the community. And so if you want to just get on the page, you get more information. And then the last slide there was my contact information, Jennifer Tillman. So I look forward to this presentation. I actually was a student in this program, and I want more people to really understand it and learn it and grow from it so that we can keep our memory strong. So at this point, I'm now going to turn it over to our presenters. I'm going to stop sharing. And I want to introduce you to Teresa and Michelle. And you guys can also just go in and say something about who you are and how you guys work together. Okay.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Jennifer. Hello, everyone. My name is Teresa Mandela, and I am the Stronger Memory Outreach Coordinator. I am a nurse by background, and my entire career has been spent in service to older adults. So I was delighted when the Stronger Memory team had an opening. And I also am from Prince George's County. Gosh, many decades ago, was born half a century ago, plus born at Andrews Air Force Base and grew up in Forestville and Upper Marlboro. And I'd love to introduce you to my teammate, Michelle.
Hi, my name is Michelle Wanzer. I'm the brain health assistant, kind of keep things in order, also facilitate. I also have a soft spot for this program because I'm a former caregiver as well as I lost my grandma due to her having dementia. So, hi, everybody. Oh, and I'm also from PG County.
Right. Yeah. All right. Well, we are going to dive in. I am going to attempt to share my screen, which is, as you all know, always an adventure when you are using Zoom. So let's see how that goes. Whoops. You know what? I'm going to stop because I didn't optimize the sound. Let me do that first. There we go. All right, very good. So again, everybody, welcome. This is Stronger Memory, and we're going to be talking about a pretty easy way to help you improve your memory, your focus, and your recall. So let me see if I can advance the slide. So first of all, you're wondering, what is Stronger Memory? I want some of that. So it is a program that was first designed for people who had an early diagnosis of dementia. But that was well over a decade ago. And since then, it now has been able to be adapted. So for people who might have an early diagnosis of dementia or mild cognitive impairment, MCI, or people who are further along in their dementia journey, or caregivers, or those of us who just want to do the right thing for our brains, no matter what, if we have cognitive challenges already or not. So we're going to be talking about 3 simple activities that you're going to hopefully do every day or close to that. And the whole idea is you're going to trigger brain activity in the prefrontal cortex part of your brain. That is a part of your brain right here behind the forehead. And we know that if you engage the prefrontal cortex, it absolutely helps you with memory, focus, and recall. The prefrontal cortex is the part of your brain where we lay down memories. It helps us with our attention span. And it's the part of the brain where we go when we need to pull a memory. And it's considered part of our working memory, the prefrontal cortex. One wonderful thing about Stronger Memory is that we are a 100% donation-supported program by the Goodwin Living Foundation. When we give this program online, you can get all of our resources to download, any training you might need, having us come on wonderful webinars like this. We do all that at no cost to you. We want to just spread Stronger Memory to as many people as possible. And you can always Google Stronger Memory. Kind of have to do it as one word, Stronger Memory, but you can go to strongermemory.org. You can even type in strongermemory.com and you'll get redirected. Goodwin Living is a nonprofit organization in care to older adults. And you're going to find out a little bit more about how this program got started. And again, we're so fortunate that Goodwin Living does sponsor this so that you can have all these things at no cost. So Stronger Memory started out, as I said, over a decade ago with a mom and her son. So that cute little lady on the left is somebody that Michelle and I get to see on a weekly basis, even though she lives in Portland, Oregon. We have Zoom meetings. Her name is Wendy Liebrick. She lives out in Portland. That is her son years ago sitting next to her, Rob Liebrick. Turns out Rob Liebrick is our CEO and president of Goodwin Living. And so it turned out that Wendy, who was a very active and vibrant person, always doing the right things for her brain for years, maintaining a healthy weight. She's a non-smoker, she didn't drink. She's a social butterfly. She's always learning new things. So she's doing all those pillars of brain health you hear about that we need to do. So it was a little strange and upsetting to the family. In 2011, Wendy started repeating herself a lot, and she didn't know she was doing it. She would forget that she'd had conversation. She was forgetting her grandbaby's birthdays. This is just not like her at all. She started losing her basic math skills. She could no longer go out to lunch with friends and figure out the tip. she would go into the bathroom and kind of write it down on paper towels and really was struggling with basic math. At first, her very nice husband, Howard, was kind of frustrated because she kept repeating herself. But then he got scared because one day he got a phone call and it was Wendy on her cell phone. And she said, I'm driving and I'm lost. And it turned out she was only 2 blocks from home. This is the same home that she lived in all of her married life, but it's also the same neighborhood she grew up in. And that's when the family said, Mom, something's really wrong. It's time for you to go to the doctor. She did. The doctor sent her to a neurologist, and she ended up with a diagnosis of mild cognitive impairment, or MCI. And her doctor back then told her, Wendy, you are in the early stages now of Alzheimer's already. And basically he said, go home, take it easy, get your affairs in order because this disease is progressive. And that's really sad because we now know there are some things we can do for it. Wendy picked up the phone. She's not the type of person to let that kind of news from her doctor slow her down. So she called her son, Rob, who had already been working in service to older adults. And she's like, listen, doctor said there's really nothing I can do other than, what I'm doing already, pay attention to my diet and walk every day, but I need to do more because I have grandbabies that I want to get to know as they grow up. So what can I do, Rob? It turns out Rob came upon some research done in Japan in 2000, and they took patients in a nursing home that had some pretty profound Alzheimer's disease and gave them 3 exercises to do on a very regular basis. And when they tested those people after 3 months, they were significantly better with their memory and their working memory, and they felt more confident. And so Rob thought, my mom isn't yet in the nursing home, and this program's all in Japanese, but I wonder if I develop it here in the United States, maybe my mom would do it. So he presented it to Wendy, and she was all in. And she started doing the exercises, and she showed improvement very quickly. I'm going to let you listen to Wendy a decade after she started this. And that picture on the left is from this past April. That's Wendy at her 80th birthday party. She did around the world in 80 years and had pictures from many trips she'd taken to different states and a few countries, and really is involved. This is a woman who got lost driving in her neighborhood and couldn't do basic math. She now teaches Mahjong to others. She programs the GPS on her phone and drives to community and senior centers all over Portland, Oregon, and even up to Seattle to tell them about the Stronger Memory Program. So to say she's done well is an understatement, but I will also tell you, Wendy doesn't miss a day. She does Stronger Memory every day. So I'm going to let you listen to Wendy. You're going to meet her husband, Howard, in this 3-minute video. And again, this is 10 years after she started doing the program, but she saw results even in the first several weeks.
Right now, I'm overjoyed. I think that since I've gotten involved with Rob's new program, Stronger Memory, and I've been focusing, I feel like I'm back in school actually, because I'm doing homework every day. I never let it go by. I might fall asleep while I'm writing my diary, or sometimes my mind floats off because I'm still trying to multitask, which I've learned recently that that's not good for your memory. And so I think that I can see the difference right now. I would say I have the best focus and recall right now that I've had in the 11 years I've been doing this.
Yeah, talking about recall, her recall has become so good that she recalls things that I don't wish her to recall. No, but seriously, she has an amazing recall that has improved significantly. I mean, this is much better than it was even before the 11 years ago when she started this. She's amazing. Her recall is far better than mine now, and I think it's because of the program she's been on.
All right. So we hope you get to meet Wendy sometime. We actually have a YouTube channel. If you go to YouTube and type in Stronger Memory, one word, it'll come up and you can see a few interviews with Wendy and even her husband Howard there too. But she is definitely doing very well, as are many, many individuals. We actually have over 37,000 individuals since 2022 that have started Stronger Memory. And we get emails every day and calls too of people who are doing very well, and even some handwritten thank you notes. So by now you're thinking, okay, this sounds pretty good. What is Stronger Memory? What are those exercises they're talking about? It's pretty simple. We would like you to try to read out loud for about 10 minutes a day, and then write by hand for about 10 minutes a day, and do some simple math quickly for about 10 minutes a day. So we're talking a total here of 30 minutes a day. We'd love for you to do them at least 4 days a week. And if you do that, it truly has been shown that you can improve your memory, your focus, and your recall. So reading out loud, writing by hand, and doing some simple math quickly. We provide a workbook that has some writing prompts for you to do if you can't think of something you want to write by hand. We have tons of math problems. We're going to show them to you. And again, you can go to strongermemory.org. It'll take you to our homepage there, and you can download these materials for free. If you don't want to print them, you do have the option to purchase a workbook. We give it to you at our cost. So it's 175 pages for $17.15. So that's $1 a page. Our printer has not raised the price in 3 years because he believes so strongly in Stronger Memory too. I will tell you though, then, either the US Post Office or UPS gets involved and they set their prices. But when you go to our website, if you click on purchase a printed workbook already, then it will show you how much the shipping will be. So that's not up to us, but they set the prices. But again, you have the option to download the materials yourself and either print them in your home or look at them on your screen of your computer. So let's talk first about that simple math done quickly. I said simple math. You can see I wasn't kidding. This is about 1/3 of a page of the math problems that we offer. So they're pretty simple. And right now they look like they're all going like, oh, I get this. 16 plus 2 is 18. 16 plus 3 is 19. 17 plus 1 is 18. 17 plus 2 is 19. We shake it up a little bit sometimes. And so it's not always just going to be the next, plus 1, plus 2, plus 3, plus 4. We want you to pay attention, but we don't want you to stress over math. So believe it or not, we don't include an answer key because we really don't care if you get the answer right or wrong. That's a shocker. We don't care if you get the answer right or wrong, because it turns out for your brain, what matters is the process of doing this math. So it's the process of calling back from when we were all first doing math, like kindergarten and first grade. We all probably started doing math on a regular basis. It's reinforcing those pathways that were laid down in our brains when we were very young. That's what we're kind of reinvigorating here. So our math problems are only addition and subtraction. They do get a little harder as they go along. It's like the hardest one in there might be something like 1001 plus 2004. So you've got some extra digits, but it's really very basic math. And it's basic for a reason. We want it to be simple. So think about this like if you're a musician who plays the piano, you warm up with the piano scales. Or if you remember watching March Madness, you saw game after game, and the teams don't drive up to the stadium, jump out of their car, and start playing the game. What do they do when they come on the court? They're dribbling, they're shooting. They're dribbling, they're shooting. They're going back to the basics before they start the game. And that's what we're asking you to do with this simple math. Go back to the basics. When I was a young girl, I got to see Yo-Yo Ma. He's the famous cellist. And we went backstage before the concert. We walked into the green room where he was rehearsing. And what was he doing? He was playing the scales on the cello, probably the same scales he learned in the first couple months of playing that instrument many, many years ago. So even the most famous cellist on earth is still going back to the basics before he does anything else. That's what we're trying to get you to do. We know for a fact that simple math done quickly really activates that area behind your forehead, that prefrontal cortex. And that's what we want to do. Activate it and engage it. Here's an interesting thing. We're not sure why. The researchers don't know why this works, but if you do it quickly and don't slow down to really think about the math problem, if you just do rapid fire math and go through it, it activates more areas of your brain and more in that prefrontal cortex than when you slow down and overthink it. And that's why we don't really care if you get the answer right or not. But that being said, I know many of you out there, you're type A personalities. You're a little bit of perfectionist, and you're going to want to know if you got the answer right or not. So here's what you can do. Don't slow down while you're doing about 10 minutes of math. Wait until you're done. Then you can go back and check yourself and take as long as you want. But when you first do it each day and you do the math, don't slow down and definitely don't stress out about it. Wendy found out when she started to do some much harder math because she thought, well, some is good, more must be better, and I need to challenge myself. It turned out that she started having trouble with the math. She also started having trouble with her memory. And they felt that there was definitely a correlation. So her son Rob was like, you know what, Mom, go back to just simple addition and subtraction, because we know that works best. It's also interesting because if we do really hard math, people have been put in the MRI scanner and they take, pictures of their brain while they're doing math. If they work on a really hard problem like calculus or a hard statistics problem, they're working hard, but their brain is only showing a few little areas that are working hard. But when you do this super simple math, addition and subtraction, and you do it quickly, many areas of the brain are lighting up on that MRI. And boy, that's what we want to see happen. That means you are improving your brain health. So that's why we want you to do simple math, and we don't want you to slow down, and we don't want you to stress about it. If you do decide to print your math pages or get the pre-printed workbook, you're going to run out of the math eventually, even though there's a lot in there. And so one thing, you've seen these plastic sheet protectors out there before that people put in notebooks, like, and there's Wendy with hers. You can actually even cut those plastic sheet protectors down the side, and it opens them up like a storybook, and you can lay them over the page. Then you can take a dry erase marker like we've seen people use like on a whiteboard and fill in all your answers. And when you're done, you just take a moist paper towel and wipe it all off. That means you can go back and reuse those math pages over and over and over. You heard me mention that it's always good, you know, and Wendy thought it was good too. You want to challenge your brain. You do. That's a good thing. People talk about, oh, I'm going to learn to play the guitar. I'm going to teach myself how to play the banjo. That's challenging. I'm going to learn to speak Italian for fun. That's challenging. We want you to do any of those cool, challenging things that you want, but that's not what stronger memory is about. Stronger memory, again, is back to the basics. We're trying to engage those pathways in the brain that you learned when you were a little kid and they were laid down in your brain then. We need to reinvigorate those parts of your brain. So stronger memory is doing one thing. And then if you want to learn to play the banjo on your own, go right ahead, because that's a different challenge and you can do both. All right, let's head to the writing by hand. It turns out when you start telling people, oh, I want you to write for about 10 minutes a day. That's not too bad. I can do that. After about 2 weeks, you might start running out of ideas of what to write. First of all, any amount of writing you do counts. So if you're writing a to-do list today, that counts. If you are writing a recipe down, that counts. Got your grocery list? You want to write that down? That counts. All those things count towards your 10 minutes a day. So you can be writing and writing. If you're already writing in a journal or a diary, don't stop. You're already really giving your brain big benefits. And we always say, we'll give you bonus points if you want to write thank you notes, because that's even more special. But we put some writing prompts in the Stronger Memory Workbook so that if you did run out of things to write, you would have some questions. Over 200 of them are there. So you don't have to go in order. You can pick any one you want. You can really write about anything you want. We work with a guy who worked downtown. Who actually worked at the Pentagon. He was sent there because he had been in the Navy for years and he understood how submarines were built. And he actually likes to read policies and procedures on submarines and then rewrite them for what's happening now in modern times. This is not what I would want to write about, but it doesn't matter. It's whatever you want to write about. You can do anything you want to write about. Here are some examples though. If you went on a trip tomorrow, where would you go? Who would you go with? And why would you pick that location? Or what do you like to do for fun on a sunny day? My favorite is, what did you do with your first paycheck? Because I've been in a lot of groups where some people came together and talked about how they did their stronger memory at home, and they brought some of their writing with them. And you get to hear one of two answers on what did you do with your first paycheck. The first standard answer is, my mother, I got my first paycheck and my mother drove me to the bank and we opened up a savings account and I deposited a check and they gave me a bank book and it was the best day. Or you hear the other one. I got my first paycheck. I called up all my buddies. We went to 7-Eleven. I spent every penny of that paycheck on Slurpees and it was the best day. So you learn a lot about people when you hear things that they've written. And we encourage you to save your answers to the writing prompts. It's wonderful if you have a group or a friend or a care partner or a loved one that you can share these with. Maybe you're both even writing and you'll learn something about each other. But it can also tell you, if you start writing these answers to the writing prompts, we encourage you to go to the dollar store and get one of those black and white composition notebooks. Now, you know the dollar store is now the $1.25 store, but they don't put that on the sign. But it's going to cost you $1.25 to get a composition notebook, and you can write your answers to the writing prompts. And I guarantee you that your friends or your loved ones are going to want a copy of that one day, because it's an insight into the things that maybe you did when you were little, or them learning about things they never knew about you, and maybe what's important to you. So we encourage you to write, write, write. I hear you out there saying, I don't like to write. I know how to type. I have a computer. I love to type on the computer, and that's what I want to do. And you know what? Typing on the computer has some benefits. There's no question. But the research studies, and there are many of them, show that writing by hand is far more effective for your brain than typing. So think about that. You're typing, it's the same movement over and over, but when you're writing by hand, you have to think of the symbols that string together to form a word, and you've got to put them on the paper, and you're moving your hand different ways, and the feel of it, and you're seeing it come together, and it's a little slower, even if you're a fast writer, so you're able to kind of visualize what you're writing about. So a lot's going on in your brain when you write. If you can no longer write because physically you just can't do it, then we give you a pass. You can type, but only if you cannot physically write at all anymore. We give you a pass to type, and you still will get some brain benefit, but it just turns out that writing is magnificent for our brains. All right, that third thing that we can do is reading out loud. We want you to read anything you want, except I would never read the front page of the newspaper, especially right now, sorry, out loud, because it might be upsetting. But you can read books, magazine. You can read the style section of the newspaper. That's usually pretty good. If people tell us sometimes, well, I don't think I need to read out loud because I read a lot already. And some people even tell us, I get up every morning and I read the Bible. Well, that's fantastic. We want you to read the Bible out loud. We want you to read the newsletters out loud. We want you to read your grocery list out loud. Again, you don't have to do all of these exercises all together and use the whole 30 minutes. You can chop them up throughout the day with the goal of getting to about 10 minutes on reading out loud, writing by hand, and doing the simple math quickly. You can read to yourself. You can read to a friend. You can read to a spouse. If you have a child in your life and they live in California, you can pick up the phone and read to them. And I guarantee they're actually going to really like it. And then they might want to read back to you. Wendy, who was the first Stronger Memory champion there that you met earlier, she has a best friend that lives far away. They go on Amazon and pick a book together. And then they call each other Monday through Friday, and they each read to each other from the book for 10 minutes. And then you'd think they'd hang up because they do this almost every day, but they don't. They start talking about what they read, and they giggle, and they read anything they want. They read little-known facts about US presidents. They read a book called Atomic Habits, all about getting a routine, which is a really good book to read if you're going to start Stronger Memory, because you're putting this into a routine. They even read a novel that I thought was racy, a little spicy, but they giggled their way through it and loved it. So you can read anything you want. And if you don't have someone to read to, but maybe you have a pet, you can read to the pet. There's a lady in DC that reads the sports page to her cat, and the cat actually listens. I have seen this on Zoom with my own eyes. When she stops reading, the cat hits her on her arm with a paw, so she'll continue reading. I don't know what it is. We have good sports writers. Right now, we have a really good sports team in Washington at the same time. That doesn't happen very often, but that cat loves the sports page. So again, read to yourself, read out loud to yourself, read to your pet, read to a friend, read to a child, read to anybody, or just what we're saying is read out loud. You're going to build up to 10 minutes. If you haven't read out loud in a long time, because we're so used to reading silently, it's not going to be easy. You might only be able to do it for a few minutes at first because your vocal cords will get tired. You're not only helping your brain, you're giving your body a workout. You have to sit up a little straighter. You have to breathe a little deeper. So a lot's going on there too when you're reading aloud, but we encourage you to do it. And again, you can read anything you want. So things that people tell us when they've done stronger memory, one person had all their life loved to draw and paint. And then COVID happened and they stopped. They stopped for years. And then they joined a stronger memory group on a webinar, just like you're doing. And they started doing stronger memory at home. And they let us know, they don't know why, but something about stronger memory made them want to start drawing again. And they are doing it on a regular basis. And then the person on the right said, I felt energized by the math and it surprised them because they haven't felt energized about anything in quite a while. I did this group introduction for stronger memory, and this lady that gave the quote about the math was in the front row. She didn't think I heard her. She whispered to her friend when I talked about the math. She said, I hate math. I'm not doing that math. I can't stand it. I'm out of school and I don't have to do math. I'm not doing the math. So I went up to her afterwards and I said, you know what? I know you don't like math. I get that. People either love math or they hate math. There's not really that many middle of the road people on math. I said, but it's not hard math. And just, if you could try it for me for 1 week, and if you really don't like it, we don't want you to do anything you really don't like. So you can stop, but if you can just try it for a week, see what you think. She is the one that sent this in. She ended up asking for more and more math. She was flying through it. It changed the way she held herself. She was more confident because she suddenly realized she can do math, and it was helping her remember things better beyond math. So we hear wonderful things every day. And if you start doing stronger memory, we would love to hear from you too. At this point, I'm hoping you're thinking that I'm a nice person, I'm a nurse, and I wouldn't tell you anything that isn't true. So you're thinking, okay, this sounds good. I might do stronger memory, but how do I know it's really going to help me? Well, there have been some studies done. George Mason University out in Northern Virginia, one of the studies that they did on stronger memory is taking 102 people from across the nation who raised their hand and said, yes, you can do a cognitive testing on me, and then I'll do stronger memory for 12 weeks, and I'll agree to have you test me again at the end. So that's what happened. The graduate students in the Department of Social Work at George Mason tested folks. Then they all did stronger memory. Some of them did it on their own at home by themselves. Some of them did it with a friend. Some of them came together in groups and decided that they would do it at home and then talk about it a little once a week to kind of encourage each other. And they did that through Zoom too. Didn't matter how they did it. It turns out that of those 102 people, overall, everybody in the study had an improvement in cognition. But on the recall portion of the mini MOCA, the Montreal Cognitive Assessment Test, people scored a lot higher. If you've ever gone to the doctor and the doctor says, I'm going to tell you 3 things, and I want you at the end of this physical exam to tell me what the 3 words are. And you're thinking, oh, I'm so nervous. I'm already at the doctor. How am I going to remember these 3 things? And you might have a tough time with it. That's a hard thing to do. Well, people that did stronger memory did much better on that recall portion, as well as other areas. But for people who already had a diagnosis of mild cognitive impairment, or their pre-test showed that they scored in the region of mild cognitive impairment, those people improved their test scores by 27% after doing 12 weeks of stronger memory. That's 3 months of doing nothing but reading, writing, and arithmetic to get significantly better with their memory. No drugs, no expensive therapy, reading, writing, and arithmetic. So we have been very encouraged by that. So is George Mason. They are doing more studies right now to reaffirm that. So that's one reason we really encourage you to do it, is because there is some research behind this, and it is an evidence-informed program. If you go on our website, strongermemory.org, we have lots of resources. As I mentioned, you can go to YouTube and type in Stronger Memory, and it'll take you to our YouTube channel where you can watch different very short videos there, particularly of Wendy and others talking about their experiences. If you like this program already and think, I know some older adults who might be interested in doing this, but they just need kind of a cheerleader to get them together and encourage them, we have a facilitator resource packet on our website as well. And we're happy to jump on a Zoom call to do trainings with people anytime. You can also go to strongermemory.org and send us a message. A box pops up if you have a question, and it comes directly to Michelle and I. So we're seeing any questions you have, and we can help answer those for you too. And we're going to skip this in the interest of time. And again, just let you know that our whole goal here is for you to read aloud, do simple math, and write by hand every day. That's a picture on the right of Wendy Liebrick. That is her friend Pat, and you can see there they are holding the same book, and they actually go out in the park sometimes on the rare chance that they can get together and read back and forth to one another. So contact us at strongermemory.org, and we can't thank you enough.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for delivering this program to us. Right now, I just want to ask if there's any questions from any of our participants who came online today. You can unmute yourself and ask a question of Michelle or Teresa. Let's see if I see any hands up or okay, I don't see any hands up.
And Jennifer, if people come on later and have questions and send them to you, you
I
have
don't
our
see
email.
a hand up there.
Feel free to send them to us. We will be very happy to engage.
Okay, Kathy, did you have a message, Kathy Hart?
Yeah, wait a minute.
That's okay.
Yeah,
You can-
yes, quick. Sorry. I had a question because after all you've just educated us on, what if you have a resident in a nursing home set, and that person is in that setting probably for a long time? Because right now I'm a ombudsman for a facility,
Oh,
and I watch and I observe and I wonder, how can I give them something just to share something with them while I'm there to help their memory? So how would you relate to, a participant or a resident in facility?
that is such a great question. We are fortunate. The state of Virginia Department of Medical Assistance heard about Stronger Memory, and through a CMS civil money penalty grant, made Stronger Memory workbooks available to 100 nursing homes in the state of Virginia. So right now, 68 nursing homes are participating in Stronger Memory. And it's a great question to ask because it does look a little different in the nursing home setting. Often the activities department will take over Stronger Memory, and it becomes sometimes more of a group activity with anywhere between 3 and 8 residents coming together and taking turns reading aloud. And sometimes they'll incorporate that with music therapy. They'll read the lyrics and sometimes talk about how they never even thought about what the lyrics to the song meant. So they'll read that out loud, discuss it, and then sing the song afterwards. We've had folks help people learn to write again with severe arthritis. by just letting them practice their signature first. Think about it. We pay everything online anymore. We don't even write checks anymore. and at the cash register tells you how much money they're supposed to give you back. We're not even doing the math in our head. So having a group setting like that with an activities director can be helpful. And again, we find with people who maybe are further along on their dementia journey, that if they can no longer write the answers to things, they still can answer the questions. So from the writing prompts, you know, again, what did you do with your first paycheck? Or what would you take on a picnic with you? They can still get very engaged and, you know, enjoy this. We have also seen the same thing with math. They may not be able to write, but they can do that mental math. And we have nursing home residents who love to call out the answers. But we've also been amazed, especially with the math, in the nursing home, if an activities person or anyone would go up and say, hey, can you help me do some math? And that's a great way to get people to do things with you. Can you help me with this math? We have seen residents who are no longer able to identify their family members by name. They're not really sure what year this is, where they are. And we have seen them go through like 10 pages of math. And sometimes we have to stop them because they're going so long, they're going to miss lunch. And so we need to stop, let them take a break and come back. But what really is inspiring about seeing people do things like the math when they have other challenges, particularly communicating their needs, their whole demeanor will change. You can see the smile come on their faces, and you know they're probably thinking, I can still do this. I am really good at this, and I am going to stick with this. And that has been a wonderful story for us to share with family members, because Goodwin Living also has a nursing home, and we get permission to take pictures of people doing the math and send it to family members, you know, out in Wisconsin or somewhere. So there's a lot that can be done. But I would say definitely, you know, we are happy to jump on a call anytime with any nursing home too, to meet with their activity staff and talk about the different ways to adapt stronger memory for the nursing home setting. So great question.
Thank you. I'll share. I will share that. Thank you.
And thank you for your work and volunteering to do that job.
Yes. Yes, like a job.
That is.
Hello, my name is Yvonne. I just wanted to comment that you've given us so much food for thought for our brains. And I just want to say thank you, because not only I'm going to share this with other caregivers, but I'm going to use it also. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yes, Michelle and I do it. We do it too. We actually, because we're working all the time, like many of you on this call,
Yeah.
before we press send on our emails, we've typed them out, we read them out loud. We're like Evelyn with speed reading. We read them really fast, but it's amazing. I thought I was a good writer and typist until I started doing that. Now I am, because I catch myself. But there are ways to build in the activities, all 3 activities, into your daily life, because that's what we want you to do. If you keep doing it, you'll notice that you're getting better and better. We've also had a gentleman, he was a retired professor from Georgetown. He was doing stronger memory frequently, really good at it, and really noticed a difference. After COVID, finally, he was able to travel to Italy. And he told us, he's like, listen, ladies, I'm sorry to tell you, but I'm not taking my stronger memory workbook to Italy because it's Italy. So he came back after a month, and he got on a call with us, and he said, you know, I have to go back to stronger memory, because I noticed over time, you know, just little things like calculating the tip or remembering the name of the airport, things like that. And he said, I noticed that I had that, and I started to lose it and slide again. So he immediately went back to doing these exercises, and they can help. So we're inspired if we've gotten anybody to consider doing that today.
Yes, well, I hope everyone on the call will decide to at least start, because it's very easy, 10 minutes of each thing per day. And we're probably
Mhm.
already doing, some
Mhm.
of it already. Anyone else has a question or a comment before we end for the day? And Teresa and Michelle, do you want to put your phone number or not your phone number, but at least the website up again?
Yeah.
Well, it's right there, strongermemory.org.
Mhm.
It's right there behind you. Okay. Well, thank you guys for joining us today. And like I said, look out for the rest, the rest of the year. We have a great session coming up in December. I'd love for you guys to join. So stay connected and you will know about what's coming up. And thank you again, Michelle and Teresa, for joining us. I know you had just gotten off of another call.
Our
And,
pleasure.
yeah. Okay. Well, everyone have a great rest of the day and
Thank you.
look forward to talking with you and seeing you again next month.
Thank
Thank
you.
you
Thank
so much,
you.
Jennifer.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.